All right, so what the information I'm about to share is preliminary. It could change as the investigation unfolds and as our detectives learn new information. Around 6 o'clock this morning, our officers got a call for an accident with injury. When officers got on the scene shortly after 6 a.m., they had found a woman who had been critically injured and fighting for her life. She was transported to the hospital, and she died shortly after arriving. She is 34 years old. A preliminary investigation reveals that she was traveling eastbound on Interstate 44 near Vandevenner when a semi-truck plowed into the back of her, pushing her off of the interstate and onto Vandevenner. It appears right now that the semi-truck driver, according to several statements that he made, said that he was looking down to get a drink. When he looked back up, the Prius was there. It is unclear right now whether the Prius was traveling on Interstate 44 or if that Prius had stopped on the interstate due to a vehicle issue. So our investigators are trying to figure that out right now. Anyone with information is asked to call the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department Accident Reconstruction Team. They are in the middle of this investigation. I was just talking to the commander a few minutes ago. The detectives, the investigators are out right now, still collecting evidence. So you can imagine that this is still a very fluid case. As we develop new information, we'll certainly pass it along to you. It is worth noting that in any fatal accident, we draw the blood of the drivers involved. We did draw blood from the semi-truck driver because that is customary in any investigation to help us piece together potentially more evidence. So I will open it up to questions. That's what we know right now.
The Prius, I assume, is the woman's car. It seems obvious.
She was the one traveling in the Prius.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure. Same car.
Yep.
And it was just those two vehicles, the semi-truck and the Prius.
That's my understanding.
And did her car catch on fire at all when it was, pushed off of the interstate?
I don't have that information. I just know that after the crash, there was so much impact between the semi-truck and the Prius that the impact pushed the Prius into a snowbank and then off of the interstate.
Can you give us any information on the truck driver? I mean, you're not going to give his name, but his age, where he's from?
I don't have any of that information. I know that our investigators, he was detained earlier this morning pending the investigation. We've drawn blood. We'll continue to talk with him. He has made several statements to the fact that he looked down to pick up a drink. When he looked back up, he saw the Prius.
Now, with is the road like Interstate 44 where the accident happened? Was it an issue with ice at all, or because I know you said she was pushed into a snowbank? We saw the snowbank out there. We saw crews afterwards clearing the roads.
So we know, I think we've all been driving throughout the entire region, and we all know that there's tons of snow still on the sides of the road. Our investigators are looking at that is going to be part of the investigation to determine was snow or ice, or maybe if this Prius had broken down, did it break down where it was still somewhat in the lanes of traffic? All of that is under investigation to help us get a better idea of what happened, what led up to that crash, and then ultimately get answers for the 34-year-old's family. I'll say this, I mean, it's absolutely heartbreaking. It's a complete tragedy, and an accident like this is, it's just sad for everyone involved.
Where the 34-year-old victim, where's she from? Can you say that?
We're not releasing that yet.
Were there any highway cameras that captured it, or nearby police cameras, or did either vehicle have a dash cam?
That's all under investigation. MoDOT cameras do not record.
Are you able to tell us whether the driver of the truck was with a company or was he independent contracted out?
I don't have that information.
But you said the truck driver is working with you all and has made, multiple statements that he was looking down to grab a drink whenever he hit the woman.
So immediately after the crash happened, district officers responded. That's what the semi-truck told our district officers, which was captured on body camera. That semi-truck driver then made the same statement to our accident reconstruction investigators.
Yeah.
All right, while I have you guys, because I'm sure everybody will be asking. Just after 1 o'clock this afternoon, District 4 officers responded to a shooting in the 3500 block of Harper. Officers arrived on the scene and they located a man who had been shot. That man was rushed to the hospital. He has passed away. Our homicide detectives are responding to that scene right now to start piecing together evidence and collecting evidence, reviewing evidence to figure out exactly what happened and what led up to that gunfire. We are in the very early stages of the investigation. I would plead with anybody that has information about what happened to please call the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department's Homicide Division. You can also call Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous. We are so early in this investigation that I don't really have any other details to share other than we do have a person who has died after being shot and killed in the 3500 block of Harper.
You don't know if it was inside a building or outside or anything?
I believe it's outside.
Outside? So
Yeah.
It's outside, you know, if it was a house or what it was?
Not sure. Okay.
How old is that man?
We're still working to do that. We believe he is an adult.
And you said the 3500 block of Harper?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that just happened, so.
With the woman that was killed on I-44, do you have anything, you know, any advice for drivers? I mean, obviously, there's still ice on the roads. We know
Yeah.
these conditions. We just had the snowstorm a week ago. Are there any, you know, tips that you would suggest?
Well, I kind of want to hold off on sharing any of those tips because we don't know what led up to it. And so I think depending on what our investigators uncover might lead to us sharing additional safety tips. But what I can say is this is morning rush hour. You should not be looking down. You should not be distracted. Your attention should be on what you're driving, especially in the middle of morning rush hour and days after a winter storm. Road conditions are still slick. They're still dangerous. Your full attention should be on the vehicle that you're operating. Okay?
At this point, you're using the term detained. He hasn't been, the driver has not been arrested.
Correct. It's very possible that he's already been released. He was briefly detained this morning for the blood draw. Yeah.
He was briefly detained this
Yeah.
morning.
And we expect to release him if he hasn't already been
And
released.
he cooperated, it sounds like.
He is yes, he's cooperating with the investigation. Okay.
All right.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
so much.